welcome back to another vlog. If you're new here, hi, my name is Georgie. I am the artist and creator behind Georgie Certain Art, a cat and dinosaur themed online shop. So today's vlog is going to be a little bit different. I am actually going to be doing a studio tour because I'm in a new space. So I thought I'd give you a little tour and behind the scenes of how my studio works and how I've got it set up. Later on, I will also be doing a little Q&A. So I'll be answering your questions that I posted up on Instagram. And yeah, so let's get into it. The room is actually kind of split up into two. So this wall here is like a dividing part. So here I've got a table where I've got like my heat pressing stuff set up. I actually have another light straight above here so that I'm not working in my own shadow. My heat press is not going to be living on the table. We're either going to make like a little shelf to go above or a little board to go on top of my little tiered unit thing here. This is his nice big cat tree. So it's got a few different layers. Down to the right here is where I feed him. He's got like a cubby hole in there. These bowls are like 40 centimeters big, so they're nice big bowls because this cat tree is meant for like Maine Coons. He loves this cat tree. We've then got some more things of here. So this box here was what his cat tree came in, and it showed how to cut holes out of it to make it into a house. So I did that. He really likes it. And then he's got his tunnel. When I can't find him, he'll be hiding in there. And then underneath, we've got his food dispenser here, and then his water bowl, which he likes playing with the water. So that's why we've got one of those. So then coming over to the sort of main bit of the room, we've got two of these units here. These top two are for Jasper because he requires a lot of stuff, but then the bottom two is like excess stock, and it's also a load of like B grade discontinued stuff at the bottom. This is filled with different notebook and notepad stock. So the top one has got my sticker books in. As you can see, I only have one Dino one left. But then I've tried to organise them. So like this is the White Cat and Celestial drawer. We've got Space Dinos plus Celestial cats because they didn't all fit. And then the bottom one is Halloween. Here I've also got my A4 like letter boxes as well. So try to organise it so that it's away, but I can still access it easily. These, I believe, are called the Ivar units from IKEA. I've got the shallower version because I think they come in a deeper version as well. But these are they're less than 30 centimeters deep. I've organised it in a way that I've got stock up here. So these are drawers out of one of these plastic ones, but the unit broke. So I've got the drawers. So I've got different stock in each one. So this one's actually overflow stock of my Cats and Dinos colouring books. I've got loads of them at the moment. But they fit really nicely on here, and because they've got a lip, they're super easy to pull out. Then I've got some extra boxes with lids on. This is not actually anything business related. This is actually candles. And then I managed to get these pots from Lidl, I think it was, but they're just like, they've got like the cutout here. They're not the strongest pot that I've ever had, but ignoring the fact that I've got other stuff in here, they are the perfect size for my mini colouring books. It fits perfectly on top of the box, so it means that I can actually stack two on top. This box here is a random box at the moment. It did have just B grade or discontinued products in it. However, now it's also got my headphones because I was trying to fix them and Jasper kept trying to eat the glue. So they're in there. I've got another one of these boxes, and it's again holding a random assortment of stuff. If you can see, mostly it's supposed to be a coaster box. However, I had to make a load of stickers and stuff, and again, to stop Jasper from stealing them, they've gone in this box to keep them safe. Sensing a theme here, right? And then moving on, I've got just some packing supplies here. So these are my A5 envelopes and little bags that I use for packaging. And then down here I've got all my like printable cardstock, so for making like greetings cards. And then over on this side I've got baskets filled with acrylic paint, so they are actually colour coordinated. So these are from IKEA as well, I think. One of them I got free, one of them I bought. I can't remember how much I paid, like 30 quid for one or 20 quid. They're not like the cheapest of things. They do tend to warp a bit, but as long as you're not putting anything like too heavy in it, it seems to be okay. So on this set here, I've got, it's mostly packaging stuff. So I've got my A5 cellos, my A7 cellos, DL cellos and A6 cellos, so they're all sort of organised. And then this drawer is strictly for packing orders, so I've got my thank you cards and my little leaflets that tell you about my email list and my Cozy Cat Club, so that's really handy to have that all there. This shelf here is all scraps of laminate, so it's where I've made like sticker packs and I've had to trim off some laminate, so they're just strips. I don't really know what to do with them. I have got quite a lot, but I do use them. I then chop them up into little chunks and put them in this little pot so that I can then use them for sealing tissue paper in orders. So, you know, making some use of them. It's just I've got quite a few and I don't think I'm ever going to work through all of them. I've got more cello bags here because I was trialling C5 size rather than A5 so that my notebooks would fit in them rather than having to use A4 packets. These actually work, so that's why they're there, because I don't want to get them mixed up with the A5 ones because that would be really annoying. Going back up to this shelf, what I've got in here is, it's more packaging stuff, but it's not packaging in the sense of like orders and stuff. So these here are my window sticker inserts. The top shelf is for retail packaging, so that is only packaging that I would ever need for products going into shops, so that's like the key ring packaging and that sort of thing. This shelf, oh yeah, that's the other good thing, is that they fully slide out. This has like you can kind of see here, it's a bit of a mess, but it's kind of organized. They're my sticker pack inserts, and then also my coaster stickers. This shelf here, we've got cardstock here, so like print paper. This is it's the Koala matte photo paper. I do not use this for prints. It does not give a high enough quality. I use archival paper for prints, but this stuff I use for packaging because it's a nice thick photo paper which gives a decent enough finish. Then we've got sticker paper, sticker vinyl, gloss laminate, fancy laminate, more laminate. This here is my thank you notes before I've cut them down, because I order, I can show you what I do, because this is a little handy dandy thing that I do. So I order 4 designs on an A4 sheet, so cut down, they're then A6, so then I cut them down myself. It just means that I can have that variety of different thank you cards without having to order absolutely huge amounts at a reasonable price. So yeah, that's what I do. And then down here, I didn't actually show you on this side, but this side basically just has my toolboxes over here. And then if I can spin my chair, you can just see here, these files are what I keep my magnetic planners in. So they're like the concertina files. And then here I've got more packaging, so like A4 envelopes, I've got A5 boxes, I think these are more A4 envelopes, and then these are all mounts, because for a while I was selling a lot of prints in mounts, so I stocked up and now I don't really sell them. At some point I've got these really nice, because these I actually bought for when I was doing alcohol ink painting, so they're just a round mount in a square, so that it's super easy to obviously mount around painting. But I was thinking what would be cute is doing a little like almost like a peekaboo pet portrait in a cutesy style kind of thing, and then having it in a round mount. So I'm thinking about that. I've got this size and then I've got smaller as well. Initially prints with mounts did really well. It was around sort of the 2021 to 2023 mark on my Etsy shop, I was selling a lot. So that kind of shows you when I bought all these mounts. But since sort of 2024 onwards, they just really haven't sold that well. I had to put the price up, not because the mounts increased in price, but because the postage did. I think some of my newer prints I do postage additionally, but all the older prints, they're all like free shipping on Etsy. So it meant that I was incorporating the postage cost into the cost of the item. And then obviously if you're going from an A5 print suddenly having a mount with it, then that needs to go as a large letter then rather than a letter. And the same thing is if you're buying an A4 print but then you add on a mount, you're going from large letter to parcel postage. So yeah, I had to put up the price back quite a bit, and I think that's put a lot of people off. One last thing I wanted to show you for stock management was my keyring storage. So these I actually got from TK Maxx, these drawers, and I have never been able to find more. The brand is Sizmax or Sizemax. You cannot get them in the UK. They are an American brand, but they happen to have one of these units in TK Maxx when I went in one time, and then the next time I went in, they had another one. So I grabbed them. So apologies that I can't recommend you get these, because if I could have a third one, I probably would, but alas. You can get this sort of thing from like Toolstation or Screwfix and that sort of thing, because they do these sorts of drawers for like screws. Occasionally you can also get them from places like Lidl or Aldi. They'll often have them in the special buy, but I really like these because they actually stack. So they, on the top, they've got like an indent, so it actually sits and it stays pretty sturdy. The other thing I like about these is that they've got a plastic coating, and then you can pull out. I say that and then I can't do it. Normally they fall out no problem. Why can't they fall out? My god. Normally I just close the drawer and they fall out. Right, there we go. It's got a plastic coating, and then it's got a piece of paper that you can write on what's in there, but then they just slot back in. And I like having that plastic coating over it, because then when you're touching the pot to pull it out, you're not going to rub the ink. So I do like that. On the top, I've got all my magnets, key rings on the bottom, purely because key rings weigh more, so they're at the bottom. It did used to be pin badges in here as well, but obviously if you haven't seen, I am discontinuing my pin badges, so they are currently in a cardboard box under my desk. If you do sell a lot of key rings or charms or even stickers, these drawers are really, really helpful. They also come with dividers that you can either choose to put in or not. I obviously do, because I put 2 designs in each one, obviously where they're magnets. They stick in bunches like that. And then on top, because Jasper doesn't normally go up here, I've put my little display bits. Also, I forgot to point out the stuff at the top. I've got this box up here, which is peanuts. They are the biodegradable, you put them in water and they dissolve kind of ones. I've just got a massive box of them. I don't know what to do with them. I occasionally use them for sending stock to shops and that sort of thing. Up here is my bouquet that I had at my sister's wedding. It's all dried flowers. The only reason why it has to be up there and not anywhere else is because Jasper likes eating dried flowers, and he will steal them out of there if they are within reaching distance. They have pride of place up there with my little pumpkin candle. This is my chair. It's a very soft, like that Borg lining that you get on the inside of jumpers sometimes. It's that kind of texture. So it's like real teddy bear kind of deal. It wasn't the colour I wanted. I'm the messiest person, and it's already got a stain on it, on that arm. So I did not want cream. But the problem was the cream came in this finish, and the grey came in a faux leather, which when you have a cat, faux leather is not an option, especially for my cat anyway. It'll tilt all the way back, but best feature. I say the best feature, but there's actually 2 really good features. It has a footrest, so I can sit crisscross applesauce. Also, the arms, if I can, it's harder to do when you're not sat on it, they fold down so that Jasper can have a seat. Sometimes he will sit on it. Not many times he will, but he will sit on it sometimes. And then I've just got like a lumbar cushion here, because it's obviously not the most ergonomic seat in the world. So I have a little cushion I can sort of just position, and that just goes on a strap around the back, and it supports my big bum, which is always a bonus. The footrest just comes out and then you can sit crisscross. It's a very comfortable chair. It also has a very high weight capacity on it. It does creak a bit. I've never had a chair that doesn't creak, so we're ignoring that. Coming to my desk, I have obviously my 2 screens here. At the moment, I have my February Patreon rewards up. It's just my little alien cats. I have this adorable little, I think it's supposed to be a plant pot. Came from Dunelm. My sister got it for me for Christmas because we went in after Halloween, so obviously it was reduced. And I was like, pen pot. My desk is not normally tidy. I have implemented this mesh basket. So this is what I put on any random stuff that I've got. It's got my makeup bag in, but anything that I think I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, it goes in there. Now you may think, well, why do a basket like that? Why not just find a home for it? That's not how my brain works. I am autistic with a little bit of ADHD, and I have found that this has worked the best for keeping my desk actually tidy or tidy-ish. So it may not work for you, but it works for me. And then every now and again, I'll go through it and I'll pull out things that I know need to go elsewhere. Here is where I have my Munbin label printer. So it will just print out straight down the side here. It's nice and out the way. I then have my big Canon printer. Now, before when I was showing you my shelves, I just realised I didn't actually point out my little printer. That one's got a scanner on it, which is why I've kept it. And also I use like cheap off-brand Canon inks. So I use that one for my packaging and stuff where printing doesn't need to be the highest of quality. This one has proper Canon genuine inks in it because I find that the print quality is a lot better and it lasts longer. So this is my big boy because he is an A3 one, but he only prints, he does not scan. Up here, I've got my Cricut machine. This is basically the same setup as I had in my old office. So I've got this shelf, which in hindsight is a little bit tall. It depends how far forward or how far back the printer is as to how tall this needs to be, because obviously you need to be able to flick that open. So I made it have enough room. The only downside with this is that there's enough room for Jasper to also get through, so he likes to sit on my printer. I have this really long ruler. It's a 60 centimetre one that I put underneath it so that the boards don't flop down the other side when they're coming out. You will see that I don't use my own desk mat on my desk. One, I bought this one before I started making my own desk mats, so I didn't have an option. I had to replace the one that I was using. It probably needs to be replaced at some point. It's got little tufts in it because Jasper likes to scratch it occasionally, and that is the other reason why I don't use my own one. Occasionally I'll put my own one on to like do a little film of a video or whatever, but because I often use the display ones for that purpose, I don't want him then scratching it and ruining the quality of it. At some point I would obviously like to use my own one, but I don't feel the need to replace this one when it's still perfectly usable because that is very wasteful. I would like to design some kind of like orange-esque one at some point, which is probably what I'll then use on this desk. But talking about this desk, this is what my dad made me. So it's a really nice deep one. So I can't, when I'm sat down, I can't actually reach the other end of it. It's too deep. It's not a standard depth. And it's not a standard width either. It is like really, really long. It was actually, the dimensions were built for my old studio. So the old office that I was in, it was the max width and depth that it could be in that room. But it surprisingly happens to be the right width for this room because it's right up against the wall that side, and then this side I've obviously got my little chest of drawers there and they fit perfectly there. So somehow it's a perfect fit even here. It just sits on, I've got Alex drawers here again from IKEA. I think that's probably my whole like tour of my office. Let's get on to the Q&A. So I actually put up the story on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, I really suggest doing so because that's where I post most of my updates and that sort of thing. I put up a Q&A over there. I got a lot of questions. So we're going to go through them. So I have actually grouped these questions into different categories. I had quite a vast amount of different questions. So the first ones are all going to be about my art and my business. The first question is, how did you find your art style? Simple answer to that is lots of trial and error. I went to uni at the Winchester School of Art, and while I was there, I got to do the most amount of experimentation that I have ever done. I loved working in black and white, a lot of charcoal, acrylic paint, very expressive, abstract kind of work. Obviously, that style is not to everybody's taste and it's quite niche. I also was struggling to work in that style once lockdown happened because it obviously creates a lot of mess, and I was working very large scale with it. It was very messy, not very flat friendly, shall we say. So at the time I was living in a 2-bed flat in Winchester still, and that wasn't a viable option for me to continue working in. At the end of my degree, because I graduated in 2020, I actually changed up to be working in digital format. And that's where I really started developing my art style as it is now. Obviously it went through quite a phase, and I also dabbled in alcohol ink and abstract form like that, but I've just kind of worked into my squishy style. Occasionally, even now, I'll still branch out into different styles. I do quite like working in pen and ink and that sort of thing. But yeah, overall, just lots of trial and error. Next question. What's the most enjoyable part of running a business? There's a lot of pros and cons to running your own business. My favourite part is being my own boss and having the flexibility to work when I want. I can work when I'm feeling most productive, and I also like having the freedom to be creative in the way that I want to be. Next question is, how do you stay so organised? Lol. I know who sent this one in, and I can only assume that the lol was because they know that I am not organised. I often forget things for markets, get distracted while working, at my desk and doing other things, mainly because of him. One way that I do stay organised, if this is a serious question, is I have a notepad. So I just pinched one of my own notepads and I write a daily list of things that I need to do for that day. And then in my notebook, I have a long running goal list of long-term things. So that'll be my wholesale catalog, big things that take a lot longer, but then I break it down into a smaller list of manageable day-to-day tasks. The other thing I do is I set reminders on my calendar on my phone for everything. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything. For the washing, for sending my parcels out. The next question is, how do you organise your stock? I always struggle to keep track. So I've already gone through how I organise my stock in terms of physical, where I store it and that sort of thing. Ow! But in terms of keeping track of my stock, I do have a mega spreadsheet of that, and I will go through that now. So at the bottom, you can see here, I have different themes. So I've got sun catchers, key rings, magnets, pin badges, stationery, apparel. The first one is sun catchers, so you can see that I've colour coded this one blue so that when I'm flicking through at a market, I can see straight away the colour that they are, and then I know immediately what it is I'm looking at. I have, first of all, their theme, so dinosaurs, cats. Then I have the design name, how many I have at the moment. At the top here, I've called it market stock. These numbers here are just because I need to make more stock, so that's what this text is here. But normally, obviously, when I'm printing it out for a market, it will have nothing in this, and then I just tally them off when I've sold them. Then to the right, I have the SKU, and then I have a 2026 column and a 2025 column. I like to keep track of every single one that I've sold throughout the year. Some of these numbers are going to be a bit fudged because I may not have kept track of every single one. However, this gives me a really strong idea of which design is my best selling one and which one I should maybe change out to a different one. You can already see here that Celestial Cat, which is a brand new design, is my best selling one so far for this year. So I have the same thing set up for every single design category. For keyrings and magnets, I have a tab called home stock. So these numbers may not be completely accurate because I need to go through and do a mass recount of everything, but these are what should be in my drawers that I showed you earlier on. This is just quite useful for me because here I can color code certain designs that I'm going to be updating the design of. You'll notice that I don't have things like cards and prints because quite frankly I do not care to keep track of those. Just personally, I print them when I need to. I don't sell enough online to justify keeping track of them. I used to, but I don't anymore. So I hope this helps. So the next question is, what is your favourite product to make/sell? I think I have 2 products for this, but for different reasons. The first one is sun catchers. I love making them. I love designing them. They can have a little bit of restriction in the design factor, but I do love making them. They're very repetitive. I don't have to think too much when I'm making them, and I can get a lot made in a single day. But I also like selling them because I know that they bring a lot of joy to people's homes, because obviously rainbows, who doesn't love a rainbow? Another item that I enjoy is sweatshirts and t-shirts. I love designing them and seeing what will work on the top. I don't necessarily like physically making them because it is very time consuming, and the heat press, because it's like a manual one that you have to like hold on, does hurt my back after a while. But I do really enjoy selling them because I love seeing people wearing my art on them. Like this. This is one of my sweatshirts. It's the fact that people choose to wear my art out in public. Quite a lovely thing to see. The next question is a bit of a long one. Advice for someone who wants to start drawing/business. Advice if you want to start drawing is literally just start drawing. It doesn't have to be realistic. It can be a stick man. It's your own drawing. It's just practicing. I didn't start off by drawing realistic pet portraits. It took time and it took practice. My early work was awful, but I persevered. Because I love being creative. There are lots of different tutorials out there. I have some where you can like watch me draw digitally and time lapses of my paintings, so you can kind of see how I layer up paint. You've kind of just got to see what sort of art style you want to work towards and then start recreating pieces. It's not a crime to want to copy at the beginning. A lot of us learn that way, and it's a good way to learn the steps of the process, because a lot of the time if you're just learning yourself is you'll skip steps, you'll not understand why one thing is working over another thing. But if you're literally copying a piece and like watching a tutorial, there's those little steps in it that you'll pick up, but then it's how you then go from there, so you can then work to create your own style and how you morph your own style from like someone else's style sort of thing, because that's how all art styles have come about throughout history. It's taking one art style and thinking, how can I change this to be something else? So yeah, there's no harm in copying at the beginning, but obviously if you're going to start selling your artwork, do not copy. In terms of starting a business, I've had my Etsy shop since 2020, so that is going to be coming up to 6 years in the summer, and it's gone through some changes over the years. This could be a whole video in itself, but in a nutshell, if you want to start your own shop, be unique and find a gap that you can fill in the market. Decide what products you want to make and sell, and then start making them. You will have some hits and misses, but don't let the flops weigh you down for too long. I have had my fair share, and I still get it wrong sometimes. I would say invest time over money to begin with, unless of course you have to have a load of money and then I guess go nuts. But you don't need to buy everything all at once. Start small and work up. The next question is, will you be making more fan art? This is a tricky one, and I do have my own views on fan art and its use. I've previously made a Supernatural sticker sheet, which is quite popular. I am unlikely to make any products that I can't physically make myself, just for the fact that I don't want to put a lot of money into a product that I could potentially not be allowed to actually sell. Fan art is a bit of a grey area in terms of if you're allowed to make it or not. I think it's also heavily influenced by what sort of style you're drawing in. If you are simply drawing a character as they are in a show, like say it's a certain type of animation or whatever, and you're drawing that in exactly the same style, you're not putting your own twist on it, then that's going to be too close for copyright and you will likely be asked to take it down. However, if you are drawing something in your own style, which is vastly different from the original, then you may be allowed to keep it up because it may be far enough removed, but this varies depending on who holds the copyright and if they care or not, essentially. As I run my business full time, I cannot risk losing money or being asked to take products off of sale because I don't own the copyright for it. I also don't want to rely heavily on one fandom in particular, because if they suddenly become unpopular for whatever reason, whether it's just timing that the movie has been and gone, for an example, or the person who created it now is controversial, then suddenly you'll have a load of stock that you just can't sell to people anymore because they don't want it or like it anymore. Having said all this, I would like to create some more sticker sheets of TV shows that I like. When I did the Supernatural ones, the characters were cats, and I feel like that was a step far enough away from the show. One that I would like to make is Bridgerton. The next question is, do you regret anything? So I put this one in business, as I definitely have regrets that I've made with my business. Easy regrets are ordering too much stock of a design that you weren't sure if it was actually going to be popular or not. And now you have loads of it and it doesn't sell. Or attending events that I have had red flags about, but I did it anyway. Obviously, I was going to make a loss at those, or very little profit. Hindsight is a great thing when it comes to this, but we live and learn. Another one would be trying to cater to everyone. When I first started doing markets, I decided I would make dog key rings and magnets because I was attending like dog shows. So I decided I would make, I think it was 11 breeds at the time of dogs in keyring and magnet form for my first market. The whole range flopped. I only made a couple more of them, like I only restocked like certain breeds a couple of times, but soon I realised that this just wasn't what I wanted for my business. So again, I had a load of stock that didn't sell, and now I only make art of things that I enjoy, like cats and dinosaurs. The next group of questions are about me and Jasper, which Jasper, oh, right on cue, he's just come back to his food bowl again. So the first question is, why are you so lovely? Thank you for the compliment, but not sure how I can answer that one. The second one is, I love Jasper, I need to see more of him. Again, statement rather than question, but I can provide some Jasper time, and I will include that now. Oh, hello, Jasper. Yeah. It's not your category yet. Okay. The last topic is miscellaneous questions. These I just didn't know where else to put them. Question 1 is, would you rather only ever have a booming loud voice or a whisper voice? This is an easy one for me, a whisper quiet voice. I don't want to be that person with a really loud voice in the room. Also, I feel like having a really loud voice would be really annoying. Like, imagine like trying to talk to your friend in a room full of people and it's like something like intimate or something like that, and you're just yelling it at them. That'd be really annoying. The last question is, if you could be any type of fish, what would it be and why? I would probably have to say a clownfish. I really like the colour orange, and they are a very cute fish. And Finding Nemo was one of my favourite films growing up. I also don't like the deep open water, so I would rather be in and amongst like the corals. They're just a really cute fish. So that's all my questions, and I think that's all I have to talk about in my studio vlog today. If you do have any more questions that I did not answer, you can drop them in a comment below. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss my next upload. I will be doing a day in the life video, and I also have quite a lot of market vlogs and Comic Cons coming up as well. One of them being to Glasgow, which is the first time that I will be heading to Scotland ever, so I would subscribe so you don't miss that one. All my links will be in the caption below, so if you want to join my Cozy Cat Club, you can over on Patreon or follow me on Instagram. I am going to leave this one here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! So I've already got... Oh my god. Jasper, that's not... Nobody wants to see that. Sit down. But personally, me, my pro... I don't know how well this is going to turn out because Jasper is being very needy. Right, there you go. Are you going to show everybody your bum? Yeah. Okay. But obviously that isn't to everyone's taste. And during lockdown... Oh gosh. His feeder just went off. We're going to have like 5 minutes of quiet time.